Friends, what is up, friends? How are we doing? Welcome, welcome, welcome. Excited for another episode of Diner Talks with James. Thank you so much for being here. Thanks so much for tuning in. We got people starting to trickle on in here. Got people trickling on in. Excited to have you. We're going to give it just a couple of seconds to let people trickle in, and then we're going to get this party rolling. We got a few people out here watching. What's up, friends? Who's out there? Let me know who you are. Throw it in the comments. If you can hear me okay, smash that like button. Let me know if I'm doing okay over here with the sound. You know, my sound was a little wonky last week, so let me know if it sounds good right now. I appreciate that. If my sound still sounds good this week, please let me know, because that delay last week sounded a little unfortunate. It kind of sounded a little bit badassy, but wasn't quite working. But let me know, where are you coming in from, friends? Throw it in the chat. Let me know where you're calling in from. I want to hear from it. Sounds excellent. Thank you, Dan Fail. I appreciate you, brother. Dan Fail in the house. Jump for joy. Love it. Thank you, Scott. I appreciate it. Tuning in from your Scott, your Scott as always. Tuning in from your couch as always. I am sure. I love it. I love it. My friends, we're going to get this party going. Welcome to another episode of Diner Talks with James. I'm James, and we're super excited to get this one going. This week's guest is the one and only Sara Lowery. She and I have been friends for a number of years, probably coming up on 9 years, something like that. But she is a wonderful human being in my life, and I can't wait for you to meet her. But before we do that, we got to jump in, as always, with tonight's Top 3. My friends, if you ever want to contribute to the top three, I would love for you to follow my Facebook page. Go to facebook.com/James T. Robo and just drop your suggestions in there. Feel free. You can drop it in. If you see the next week's thing posted, you can drop it in there or wherever. You can shoot me a DM. Please slide in these DMs. I've just heard it's a really big self-esteem boost, and I'm here for that. The top three, y'all. Let's get it going. I was asked, James, who are your top 3 favorite rappers? Friends, this one's hard. Y'all. This one's real difficult because there's a lot of factors involved, all right? And so I picked who I believe were the top 3 best lyricists out there right now. Now, whether they are my all-time favorites, I don't know. One of them is. But either way, the first one's a little problematic, but it's Eminem. Eminem is just nasty on the microphone. The way that he rhymes, the polysyllabic rhymes are crazy. If we were also doing the top 3 most problematic rappers, Eminem would also be number 1 on that list. But he's number 3 on this list, y'all. Next, Biggie. Come on, y'all. I lived in Brooklyn for a long time. Biggie is just one of the greatest of all time. Biggie feels like you're sitting in a recliner. You're sitting in a Cadillac, a Lincoln. You're sitting in a Jaguar with the seat rocked back. His flow is so in the pocket, it is crazy. Let me know who your favorite rappers are, by the way. I want to hear about them. But my number 1 favorite rapper of all time is Hova, Jay-Z. Y'all, I've seen him at least 5 times in concert. I think he has one of the best flows ever, and I think he's just an incredible rapper. He's actually the person that got me into it. Jay-Z's Volume 1 was the first hip-hop album that I ever owned. Jay-Z's The City Is Mine is the first hip-hop song that I knew all the words to. It had Blackstreet on it. The song was fire. Check it out. So those are my top three favorite rappers. Thank you for that question. Up next. Top 3 things that hurt more than they should. The top 3 things that hurt more than they should. Number 1, stubbing your pinky toe. Why does that hurt so damn? How many nerves are possibly in your pinky toe? It is rude how much that hurts. Number two is biting the inside of your lip when you're just trying to enjoy your damn meal. Ugh. I did this earlier today. That's probably why this is the top three, but I bit the shit out of the inside of my lip, y'all. Like to the point where it's like one mash, like instantly bleeding. It was terrible. I don't understand why it hurts so much. The number one thing. Alexa's talking to me. Alexa is talking to me. How does Alexa always know what's going on? I'm probably going to get ads for Band-Aids now, because the number one thing that is something that hurts more than it should is whenever you get a paper cut on your cuticle. Yo, why does that hurt so much? And why does it hurt for 3 days? That's rude. I don't understand it, friends. It's just like a little dippy cut and it hurts forever. Those top three things that hurt way more than they should. I don't know if any of y'all have any of those things going on right now. Canker sores could have been in there as well. But yeah, for sure. And last but not least, in the top three, the top three newer movies that I've seen that have black female leads. Black female leads. So here we go, y'all. First off, If Beale Street Could Talk. This movie is so damn good, y'all. It's so damn good. If Beale Street Could Talk was incredible. Shout out to Memphis. Shout out to Dry Ribs. But just shout out to an even better film. Number two is Hidden Figures. Hidden Figures is an incredible film. Incredible film. If you have not seen it, make sure that you've seen it. Let me know if you have seen these movies or if you have other recommendations. The number one movie that I've seen recently that I loved the most that had a black female lead. These women were such badasses. Y'all, I'm going to say it. Black Panther, y'all, okay? If you don't watch Black Panther and just like feel something in your bones, I don't know what's going on with you. You need to check your roots. But there is something absolutely stunning about the power in that movie. And all three of these movies are incredible. They are all very different as well. But I recommend that you check them out. They're incredible. I wonder if any of y'all have seen some of these movies. Some of y'all have seen Beale Street. I see that for sure. Some definitely things. Yeah, some of you seen Hidden Figures, incredible movies for sure. I love it, my friends. Those are the top three for tonight. Let's jump into the show, y'all. We got a special guest coming up here. Her name is Sara Lowery. She brings energy everywhere she goes, even when you don't want it, even when you're not even ready for it. It's coming, y'all, and she is incredible, okay? Easily has one of the most infectious laughs of anybody that I know. More importantly than that, she's one of the most humble individuals that I know, and is someone who does not always see just how freaking brilliant and great and beautiful that she is. She is an exceptional, like me, she's an exceptional speaker. She is an incredible advocate. She is also a very willing and civically engaged volunteer. I hope we get into some of the work that she's been doing because she's doing some amazing stuff. But my friends, let's bring it out right now. The one, the only, clap it out, Sara Lowery.
Wakanda forever. I love it. I love your top three. I didn't agree with you on a lot of it, but I love it.
You didn't agree with me.
Tupac. Don't forget about Tupac.
I won't forget about Tupac, but it's not top four. So
or wait, the elbow. You know when you hit your elbow right on the funny bone?
Oh yeah. The least funny thing.
Yeah, it's not even funny. It's like you're like, what?
It's one of those moments where you're like, it is rude how much this hurts.
Right. Like I'm mad. I got a whole attitude for the rest of the day. Yep.
Yes. Yeah, for sure.
And then I like all three of your movies. I get down with your movies. You didn't go wrong there.
Okay. Tell me, no wrong there?
Yeah, that was perfect list. Perfect list.
Okay. I appreciate that. That means a lot.
Good job.
Thank you. I'm doing a curtsy right now. You can't see, but I'm curtsying. Sara Lowery, how are you, my friend?
Man, it's been an interesting time, but I'm good. I'm much more gooder. Can I not?
Yeah, no,
my English teacher might be watching. I'm sorry. I am much better this week than I was last week than I was the week before. So, each week I get a little emotionally, mentally stronger. But for the most part, I'm doing dandy.
Yeah. I love the use of the term interesting. By far the longest word in the English language that doesn't mean anything.
That's why you can use it. You can use it so randomly, and people are like, "Oh yeah, that was How was that book? Interesting. I didn't even read it, but it was interesting.
Interesting is a consistent 5, right? Like it's not a 6, 7, 8, 9, or 10. It's not a 1, 2, 3, 4. Like interesting is hitting a 5 every time.
Right. Exactly. It's like Was the movie interesting? It was very interesting. Oh,
interesting. Yeah. Snaps. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, for sure.
Wow.
I love it. Well, Sara, thank you so much for joining and hanging out with me. I appreciate you being here.
Thanks.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm in Waffle House. This is my version of Waffle House. We diner. My favorite diner is Waffle House. So I only thing is missing is a couple of flies, but I can get them to come in this evening. It's a little chilly.
And some plastic cups that still taste like soap.
Right.
Better soap than what it was in them before, probably. Sarah,
exactly.
Here's an important question for you.
Gotcha.
How do you order your hash browns in Waffle House?
Scattered, covered, smothered, chunk.
Scattered, covered, smothered. Now, for the people that don't know what the heck you just said, i.e. the uneducated, right? Like step your Waffle House game up, watchers. Okay?
These are the bougie people. They did IHOP. I get it.
Yeah, that's fair. So what is scattered, covered? It's one. I know you got cheese in there. I think you got ham. What is scattered?
Chop,
Onion. Okay.
And then scattered, covered, cheese. Chop. What did I say? Scattered, smothered is the cheese. Yep. So they mix them up. It's it's not the patty, the neat little patty. It's not the patty. It's like pieces with some onion, some cheese, some ham, and then I douse ketchup on it because it's nothing. It's not good without ketchup.
Oh wow, you douse ketchup on it. People judge me in IHOP. I think I've said this before on here. And it's too many eye rolls, so I'll say it again because there's nothing I love more than making people roll their eyes. When Waffle House is where I first started to learn how to eat grits. And when I started eating grits, because I'm from the north, we didn't have grits on Long Island. You know what I'm saying? We had oatmeal and farina. But grits. So I take the jam packets, ideally strawberry, and I put jam in the grits at Waffle House. Tell me about your face right now, Sarah. Let's talk about this expression.
My face is like how you disrespect those grits like that. What is wrong with you, yo? I am a Southern girl. My father used to nothing like whipping up a pot of grits every morning. My dad would fix a hot breakfast every morning that included grits. So the only thing you could do is either add cheese or sugar. You went too far with the jelly, yo. Don't tell nobody else that. Don't tell nobody. That was disrespectful. You disrespected every person who eat grits right now, man. Don't do that. Wow, you should get eye rolls.
Wow. Okay. Wow. There we go. Maybe can you go back to interesting, please?
Oh, sorry. My fault. Oh wow, James, that's interesting. That's interesting.
For sure.
Jelly, and it's strawberry, right?
Yeah, strawberry. Yeah, we got some Canadians here who don't have IHOP here.
Unfortunately,
Dan Fail agrees with the way you eat your grits, though.
Yes, I have similar eating habits. We have similar eating habits.
Yeah, for sure. So I love. Yeah, no, Waffle House is the move. Late night diner talks. You and I have had a few of those, and maybe they're not diners. Maybe they are sitting at a conference hotel, or maybe they are just sitting in your car. We've just had a couple of calls, a couple of moments where it's like, my car's right next to yours, but let's just sit in here and talk while we eat McDonald's.
Right. Or a golf cart, cart.
Yep, for sure. A golf cart, of course. Yeah. I love it. Well, Sarah, I'm so excited that you're on here, and I appreciate the way that you answered the question earlier, right? That it's interesting times. Yeah. Interesting times before that we are in right now. Yeah. And, I was thinking about you when I was coming up with this top three list. And one of the things that I wanted to talk to you about is something that I don't know much about. And as always, if I say anything that is a misstep, I hope that you will correct me because I know I'm a work in progress out here. And so please feel free because it'll be the benefit of everybody that's out here as well. There is a section of our society that is consistently forgotten about. And so as I talk about things like hidden figures, right? When we talk about Black women in the United States, Black women in the United States, maybe internationally as well, can't speak internationally as much, but it's definitely here in the United States. Black women are often forgotten about, afterthoughts. They aren't often as celebrated as they need to be. And so I guess a really blunt question that I have for you is, as a Black woman, how are you doing in 2020?
Invisible. So here's the deal. As you're talking,
powerful
as you're talking, I'm like, Yeah, black women have the greatest superpower ever, and we're invisible until we make a loud enough noise, right? So as how I'm doing in 2020, we started off with this pandemic, right? That we now notice hit the African American community quite hard, and then we go into what we see right now that is happening. And I think I, as a Black woman, have found myself in challenging conversations. I found myself having my own emotions and dealing with my own missteps as walking through my profession, walking through my side hustle, my speaking hustle, and even now my friends, right? So I've been in moments where I've now questioned, should we even be friends anymore? So it's Sara in 2020 it's been a challenge, but on some level, it's also a moment where I'm excelling, because for the first time ever, I feel like, oh, I can use my voice, and now you want to appreciate it. Oh, it's on. It's on.
Sit down.
Right. Hold up. Now you listening to me? Oh, and now you're not offended? Oh, let's rock this. We're gonna go hard. And so a couple of my last posts on my own social media platforms, I've called people out. And not to be disrespectful, but you have this group of people that's like, oh my God, Sara, you're so awesome. But it's like, if you really believe that I'm awesome, then believe in my culture. All of it, right? You take Sara, you take all of me, and taking all of me means you're standing with me. And then when standing with me means that when you in mixed company, you're speaking up when I can't speak up, right? Standing with me meaning that, you're supporting me. If somebody's like, I need a good speaker, you're not thinking about all your white friends, but you're thinking about, oh, I know Black speakers and white speakers, and you're bringing us up equally. Right. Yeah. Or when you are a renter, you own a building, you're maybe asking, hey, Sara, a good Black family who needs a nice home, instead of going to your white friends who you're like, oh, I know they're going to be good. You're like, you're opening up your opportunities to cast a wider net, to be more inclusive. So I feel right now empowered, because now we do, for once, have a platform where I don't think people are like, oh, the Black people, oh, she's angry Black girl, right? That I can actually speak my mind and not feel like you're gonna look at me kind of like, oh, she's angry again. Oh, there she is. She looks like a bitch again. Like, you really now want to hear what I have to say. And now you're asking me questions because you wanna make sure that you're being more accepting. So I feel like, as much as we're frustrated right now, it's also a good time to be excited, because it's like, let's push the envelope. Like, you want to have a conversation, let's talk. Like, but this time we're talking with full transparency and speaking from a real space. So Sara in 2020 right now is feeling, a little dejected, but also feeling a little inspired and a little empowered. And now I feel like that superhero power of being invisible is now starting to see me and starting to hear me and starting to understand my value and understand what I can bring to the table, just like my white women counterparts.
Yes. Yeah. That's beautiful. You said so many powerful things in there. I want to come back to a couple of them, but what I first want to say is let's flesh this out just a little bit more. Why do you use the term invisible? What a powerful word. Dive a little bit deeper into that for me.
Yeah, I think for so long, it's kind of, I can look at it from so many different perspectives, right? I just had this conversation earlier where, as women in general, right, you come into the house. If you got a husband, you come into the house and he's looking at you like, where's dinner? No, don't ask me how my day was. Don't care about my day, but you want your dinner, right? And so you don't really see me as equal to know I had just a hard day as you, right? So again, another moment of invisible. Or if we're in spaces and a lot of times I've worked in predominantly white institutions ever since I've been working in the field of higher education, and I'm the only Black face around the table, and I've said things and nobody made a comment, but if my white colleague says it, oh, wow, that's a great idea, such and such. And I'm like, what the the heck? Did I not just say that? And so it's like, and I know I'm not the only one. So I think when for a lot of Black women, we feel like we really are not heard and we really are not seen unless we force our way in. And if we force our way in, then we, if we are good Christian Black women, we're like, we don't want to be disrespectful. Then I'm worried about your feelings when I really shouldn't care because you don't really care about mine. I just trying to get in so people can see my value and see my worth. So I think we, you know, when I use the word invisible, it's like we're making things happen, but it's always behind the scenes. And it's never get the value or the connection that so many other folks get. And so much of what we do, especially as Black women, you know, we are single moms who's busting 2 jobs and nobody recognized that, like, oh, that's supposed to be the norm. But then let somebody else like, oh, I'm a single mom. And it's like, oh, the community is like, we've got to help her. She's a single mom. What? All these single moms out here in the world, and we're not really putting the same effort there. Or I think about students, right? As Black girls who are in school, they're applying for scholarships. I just see a situation where a girl applied for a scholarship and she 4.0 involved in tons of clubs and organizations, letter of recommendations out the wazoo. And then the girl has a 3.2 white girl gets the scholarship. And again, she's like, it's never enough, right? And I think the key thing about being invisible is that it's never enough. Like we always got to go one step further, go one step harder. We got to make sure we watch our P's and Q's. We have to make sure we say it the right way. We have to smile the right way. Ooh, let me change my voice because I sound too heavy. It's like we have to make changes, but you still fail to see our worth. You still fail to see who we are. You still fail to bring us to the table and give us give us a chance like you're giving everyone else. That's that invisible life I talk about. Make sense?
That does, yeah. That really does. And that is, it is so much to carry. It is so much to carry, and especially for you, Sara, you take it one step further because not only are you just being a Black woman, you're also choosing to educate, right? And so you're like, let me carry some more shit, actually. Let me also, let me not only carry the burden of being made to feel invisible in this country, but let me also carry the burden of educating you people who have made me feel invisible, right? And what a dichotomy. I mean, I'm wondering in the last 3 weeks, how have you found a balance between I just need to be Sara, who's just like, what the fuck? Another Black man murdered. And now, however many, I mean, since George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, right? Like we can now start listing new names. Right.
But James, be mindful. George Floyd had to die before we even looked at Breonna Taylor. Another moment of being invisible, right? Yes. This girl was laying in her house, in her bed, minding her business, and you, with your no-knock warrant, come in at the wrong apartment, do your job right, sir, and this woman lost her life. That didn't even make the headlines. It didn't even make like nationwide news. It was like in that area a story, right? And may God rest his soul, George Floyd loses his life, right? That's nationwide. And the mom goes, hold up. Did y'all not hear about my daughter? Did you not see that? And again, it's like, oh yeah, and let's add her name. No, let's don't just add her name. Understand she was wrong. And then we have the responsibility to make sure we have the same energy and the same fight for her, for the Sandra Blunt. Like, it's like we're invisible one more time. I'm sorry, I got excited. My bad. Go ahead.
You're right. You're right. I mean, and there are so many. There are others like Sandra Bland, and there are other women who just didn't get the shine of some others. And even in this case, in losing their life, it still wasn't enough. Right. And you're completely right. And that was a great call out because you're right. I felt like in social media there was a push for Breonna Taylor a week after the George Floyd stuff. Like all of a sudden I was like, oh wait. And now it's crazy, right? There was literally a Breonna Taylor law, but yet her killers run free with jobs, right? Like, I mean, like, it's like, it's like, thanks for the law. How about justice?
Right. Like, you wanna have a moment with this man? Like, what's going on? Why is he free? So
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So for you, how, I mean, how has carrying those two things been? Like, what are those moments where you have just allowed yourself to grieve, to get angry, to be like, here we go again, to be like, it's still like the same bullshit, and also to be frustrated of like, this is what it took for y'all. We needed a pandemic on top of obvious killing with a police officer with a hand in his pocket, casually killing somebody. That's what it took for y'all to finally realize that, oh wait, maybe this matters. Right. And so like that frustration that you must carry. But on the other side of being like, but like you mentioned earlier, but this is our time because people are listening. Right. And as an educator, we want to catch people when they're listening. Right. How has it been for you, that juxtaposition of emotions?
It's been a process, right? So I think the first initial week and you sit, I don't know about you, James, I said it and watched the video, not once, but twice. And not because I wanted to glorify, I'm just sitting there. I think I was just in shock. Like, I'm like, wait, you're just doing this right now. And I began, I think the second time, I'm like, who is standing around? Why is nobody pushing this officer off? Like, I think I started to analyze it, and I think I was angry, very angry. And so I go into my staff meeting with my all white staff. But I also have, let me give my boss a shout out. Not because I feel like I have to, not because I'm brown nosing, because here's a white woman who understands and who's like giving space and room, right? Mm-hmm. To say, Sarah, I know it's a lot. Tell me what you need from me and how can I be supportive to you? And I don't think I've ever had that in any supervisor I've ever had in all of my days. And so any white woman supervisor, let me share that. So I think that first week, I canceled meetings, James. I didn't feel like talking to white people. I didn't want to have these one-on-ones. I got to a place of anger because then, it was the white guilt that I started hearing from a lot of my friends. It was the text messages that was like, Sarah, I'm so sorry. Tell me what I can do. How can I support the cause? And I'm like, stop asking me that. Like, read, like Google, like do something. But then there was people who was like, Sarah, this is what I'm doing. I'm protesting. I'm like, all right, bet. I appreciate it. So I think the first week and a half, it was a moment of frustration, period. But then I needed to figure out, how do I use that? How did I use that, right? So the one thing I love about me, but I also hate about me, is I always see both sides of the spectrum, right? I always see both sides of the point. And so I'm like, all right, I have some really great white friends who I love who are struggling right now. And one of them just said, I don't even know what to say. I don't even know. I protest, but I feel like it's not enough. I want to do more, right? Mm-hmm. And so I know there was this group of folks who was, I have questions, but I don't want to ask them, but I'm Googling it and the answer's not there. And that's when I realized is that as much as I want to tell you to Google it, the answers are really not on Google. Like, you can read all the books in the world, but sometimes the answer is just in our stories as Black Americans. And so I feel like if we're in a space that we can be emotionally, mentally, and psychologically healthy, then we owe it to be able to share our story. So for me, I work like University of Delaware want their funds, they want their hours, right? So I have to go to work every day, but my platform, my protest has been, I'm in front of white audiences, in front of students, in front of friends, colleagues, to say, ask me the question, right? You can't find the answer, or even if you didn't look, ask me the question, but let me be very fair with you, right? Right now, that who dwells within me is a Martin and a Malcolm, right? For those of you who don't know, let me break it down for you one more time. Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., that's like the positive, clean, like nonviolence, great answer. And then there's the Malcolm, like, I'm ready to come through with you in a minute. So both of them exist inside of me, and I had to negotiate. And I say to people, like, I can't guarantee you which one is going to answer you, but I can promise you that I will try to engage you in a conversation that I hope that will elevate you, but it will also elevate us to move together in a united front, right? I had to do that. That's part of my protest. The other part of my protest is getting Black people to tell your stories, right? So I went on my Facebook and said, when did you first fall in love with being Black? Because the one thing I know about relationships, the more I know about you, the more I can identify with your life, the more I can respect you. right? And so I want them to be able to hear Black, like, just don't look at our Black face and assume you know the story. No, you don't know our story, but I need you to ask what our story is, because I guarantee you're going to find we're more like than not, right? Yes. And so when I cut, I'm bleeding red. I'm pretty sure if I cut you, you're bleeding red. And at the end of the day, if you say you were supposed to be an American and you're supposed to be, this is my favorite, a good Christian, how in the world are you looking at me by my color, right? But you're the first one that's like, well, you know, and then you have those people who are so
I'm going to sip my tea real quick on that.
Well, and you know, you have those that are so Christian, right, in their walk that they're like, well, Sarah, that's not you. That's the other Black people. No, sweetie, that is me. That's my culture. You can't separate me from my culture. I am who I am. So I think for me, it is my new platform, my new goal, right? I would engage in those conversations, right? I had a conversation with speakers, and I'm not going to ever lie. It's taxing. When I get off, I cry. Yeah. I'm like fussing. And then I'm like, all right, get yourself together. Let's go. Let's get back on here, because I realize, you know, something that you said that I've heard repeated. I want to be on the right side of history. And even though as a Black woman, I want to be on the right side of history, that I can continue to tell the story. Because if I tell you to Google your answer, I don't know what you're Googling. And so now whatever you're Googling is going to become what you know to be true.
I don't know what your algorithms are, right?
Right, yeah. Right. And so now you're going to be like, well, Sarah told me to Google it, so I guess this is the right answer. And I'm like, nah. So instead of me telling you to Google it, I'm going to share with you my story. I'm going to share with you my story. I'm going to answer the questions. I want us to get to a place where we can communicate. But this is exciting because we know it's been taboo to talk about race. So I've been able to do that. So I've grown from anger to frustration to heartbroken, right? Because that could have been my dad. That could have been my brothers. That could have been my nephews. Yep. Like it could have been anybody in my family that could have been Mr. Floyd, right? But so I want to be able to be in a position where I know that I try to stand up and have good conversations and help people think differently and think better and think collectively and more inclusively and understand, don't be a racist. Like it's not a hard concept, right? And so it's just like, you just got to, you know better. Hopefully you do better, right? But we'll see.
Yeah, ideally that's how that works for sure. But we never know. But here's the other thing, Sarah, that I think is important is that not every Black person is you. Exactly. Right? Like not and
exactly,
because of experiences, because of stories, because of what they've seen, because of whatever it is, all viable reasons, not every Black person has the patience.
Right.
Has the patience to find the language to make a more digestible answer to someone who is like, I just want us all to get along, right? Like everybody should just be comfortable, right? Like and so that's where your power comes in. That's where your power come in. I mean, I know I am grateful for it. I mean, your video that you put on Instagram, again, make sure I put up our Instagram before, I'll put it up again. But like the Stand With Me video is so powerful because it is hashtags aren't standing with. Sharing a post on a story isn't standing with. And there are ways. Those are good. Educate yourself, right? And please buy a mirror and look at it for a while. Right, like that's important as well. That's important reflection and whatnot. But that capacity of standing with somebody is really powerful. And just because you texted all of your Black friends, yo, you good? It's interesting. I had a buddy of mine who was actually a former student of mine, who put on Instagram. He said some of y'all. He said some of y'all from high school out here texting me, bro. You just wanted to check in and see you're doing okay. When I know you used the N-word when we were in high school, I know that you didn't care about my Blackness until 2020. We graduated 8 years ago. Yeah, I'm good, but not because of you. Right. And so, there is power in that. And that's why I know I'm very grateful for you, Sarah, is that, I mean, you have made me a better person, and a more observant, a more knowledgeable, individual putting in work to be an ally. And so, yeah, so I appreciate that about you for sure.
That's that. You know what? Let me get this man shot. He's not here. He can't hear it, but I have family that's on here, and so they'll be like, she didn't even talk about that. Comes from Jesse David Lowery. That's my father. He was a Marine who grew up in rural Mississippi, and he taught me, you will respect and love everyone you come and climb up. But he was the one who was like, let's engage people in conversation. Like my father knew no stranger, and my father seen some stuff, right? I said rural Mississippi. It was Crawford, Mississippi, like a really small town in deep Mississippi. And so my father was the one who said, this is who you would be. And so the best way to honor his memory is to be the woman he raised me to be. So that's coming from a Marine, a good, strong man. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
In a 2-syllable town that in the South, you just merged it into one, Crawford. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I mean, I can only imagine the stories that your father has. Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Sarah, here's another interesting layer to it is that you are a woman. Don't know if you knew that. Let me tell you about you, Sarah. But as a woman who talks about feminism as well, an interesting aspect that's coming up right now, as you talk about being good Christians and whatnot, it's a really important word, and that's intersectionality. Right. And the intersectionality of the idea of like, you can't care about my race and not care about the fact that I'm gay. You can't care about the fact that I am a woman, but not care about the fact that I am, et cetera, et cetera. Like you either the intersectionality is important. And oftentimes we hear a lot of white feminism. And I'd be curious if you'd be willing to talk a little bit about that as well, and kind of like and what you're carrying there, because I mean, as a woman, you're already told to keep it smooth, to keep it calm, to keep it like it's all put together, right? You're allowed to be funny, but not too funny. You're allowed to be loud, but not too loud. You're allowed to cry, but don't cry too much. You're allowed, right? Like you're told to keep your emotions in this little sound wave right here, never too high, never too low, and you'll make it in business, right? And like it's such bullshit. And so but yeah, so I'd be curious for you to talk a little bit about that as well, and what does that intersectionality look like here?
It's funny, James. One of the things I always fuss about is that as we advance each year, our vocabulary advance, right? But I feel like that's great. But I feel like sometimes you just need to go back to the basics and the golden rule: treat people as you want to be treated, right? And so I think about when we start looking at like, oh well, it goes kind of back with the example I used earlier, where someone is like, Sarah, you're not a part of that culture. It's like, nah, yeah, I am. I'm a Black woman, and when people see me, they don't see a speaker first. They don't see someone who works in higher ed. They see a Black girl, right? And they're like, was she trying? How many kids she got? Like, I'm like, excuse you, none. Like, it's like, it's the stereotypes. And so when I think about, all the definitions that is utilized for one woman, right? For one woman, she has so many adjectives from the ceiling to the floor are the things that describe and make her up, right? And those things are the things that make her unique. But yet we still narrow all of those beautiful words down to either one or two words, right? Either she is a gay woman. And so it's like when we talk, it's like, oh, is she? I think she's a gay. She's the gay white lady. It's like, right? Ellen DeGeneres, who always win like all these Golden Globes, who's an amazing comedian who talks, have a great talk show, but we narrowed her down to, the gay white woman. Like what? It's like, or it's like we think about, the Black woman, the Black gay woman. Who are we talking? Like, stop with these titles, right? And so I think that's the other thing that I think it's funny. I had a conversation with a friend of mine just before the show out of the class. I said, why is it when I get out of class, I feel like I'm the dumbest student in the room? And she's like, come on, Sarah, it's because it's the definitions that we teach ourselves over the years that we begin to embody. And I'm like, oh, that's right. I got to fight off those definitions, right? And so we've gotten so used to society giving us these labels that we start to believe within ourselves that's who we are, right? That we are, I'm a Black woman. Well, technically I am, but the reality of it is I'm a badass Black woman, right? I'm doing some amazing things. And so let's talk about those things instead of labeling down to these two things. So when we talk about the nice word of intersectionality, we put in this nice big word, we put it in Webster's dictionary, we define it. When we talk about, we have these great conversations, but the bottom line for me will always go back to, I am more than your two labels that you can manage to come up in your brief dictionary, right? I need you to expand your vocabulary and really engage with me and know who I am, and know what I bring to the table. So I struggle even with, and even when you said a feminist, I'm like, even when it's like, I just want what's due to me is due to me, right? At the end of the day, if I am a good speaker, period, not a Black good speaker, not a Black woman good speaker, if I'm a good speaker, pay me my worth. Don't look at my skin color and my gender and decide, well, since she's a Black girl, that's only going to pay her $1,000 less. Like, are you kidding me? Right. Like, pay me my worth, and don't look at, like, don't try to put me in these categories. Look at the job that I'm providing, or look at the gift that I'm given, or look at the time that I'm putting in, right? And pay me my worth. So when you talk about feminism, I get a little frustrated there too, because it's not that I am just looking at it from the perspective of, oh, women need to have equal rights, but it's like everybody need to have their due justice, like, period. Like, I don't care what is women, men, whatever, because even, we talk about, well, women get paid here, men get paid here. We know that it's been out there, but I think about, like, it's not fair for Hispanic women, or it's not fair for, so it's like, it's just, it's one of those frustrating moments, because it's like, I really want us to just really get past, they're feminists, or are they, or what are they? Are they in the LGBTQIA community, or are they, it doesn't matter. Why does it matter? How does that affect you and what you do in your life, right? But what's their talent? What's their skill? What are they bringing to the table? That's what I need us to work with. And so we still are using these big, pretty words because it sounds good and it gives definition, but it gives people another layer to hide behind, to try to explain and try to say, like, oh, well, this is why. No, boo. It's because you're not educated. So step your game up, educate your mind, get to a place where you really have read deeper than just the table of contents, but you've actually read the book, so then you know how to make better decisions, to hire better people, or to engage people in different type of conversation. Does that make sense? Did I answer your question? Went off on a tangent. Did I answer your question?
First off, I'm here for any damn tangent you go on, Sara Lowery. I'm holding on and I'm loving it. No, I mean, you're speaking truth, because here's the thing: we as human beings, we know this. Humans love themselves a pattern. Right? Our brains are pattern generating machines. We know that our patterns make us feel they make us feel comfortable, like we know what to expect, right? And so humans love patterns, and humans love boxes, right? Like, cool. Now wait, which box can I put you in? Right. Which one? Okay. Oh, you're that? Right. Great. Thanks so much. I appreciate it. I know exactly how to deal with you.
Right. Well, do I really? Because sometimes I'm putting you in a box that I know you don't fit in, but let me chisel you down. Let me demean you. Let me second class you. Let me put you in a position where you second guess yourself, so that you will fit in this box. Let's don't forget, there's that place that happens too, where, so it's like, oh, she's a Black woman, we can make her feel less than, so we don't have to pay her as much. Like, I believe people do that because you just are ignorant. So it's like, yeah, I got you.
Yeah. Sorry. No, get this. I mean, that get past the table of contents line. If you haven't written a blog post about that, you're welcome. I'm glad I was able to open the space. I mean, I really think this is me that I did that. So I just want to say thank you, and you're welcome for everything that I did to facilitate that for you.
Thank you. Typical white man won't take credit for shit. All right, here we go.
Sarah, but honestly, you got to write that one down. If you haven't written that down, you need to write that down. It's incredible. It's such a powerful metaphor that you came up with. That was brilliant for sure. But it's so interesting because we get into these patterns and we get into these roles. Like, I mean, you hear it all the time. I mean, you and I work with student organizations and stuff like that. That'll say the phrase of, like, I don't even think of you as Black anymore.
I love it. My favorite line. My favorite line. My favorite line. I don't see color. I don't even see a color.
Yeah.
Are you colorblind then? What's wrong? You need to go get your eyes checked.
Yeah, when I first met you, you were black, but now that I get to know you, I don't even see you as black. It's like what? I know that you're trying to compliment right now, but you're missing so hard.
My favorite compliment. This is my favorite compliment, James. My favorite compliment. Oh my God, Sarah, you speak so well and so articulate.
Oh God.
And then their lip trembles because they either know, oh, I don't know if I'm supposed to say this next line or not. You'll see, for a woman, like, and then I'm like, you want to say for a black girl? Just say it. I know you want to say it. Come on, just say it. Just say it so I can put numbers together. Just say it. Yeah. That was my favorite line ever. Oh my God, you speak so well. I was really shocked. You're so articulate. Okay. All right.
Yeah. It's just that so there's so many ways that we are demeaning to others, and it's terrible the way that we are conditioned. And those, again, we don't want to talk about having implicit biases, but I'm sorry, boo. You came packed and equipped. You mean just because you didn't pack the bag doesn't mean they're not in your luggage. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And you're carrying that baggage right now. Okay. So it's up to you to unpack it. Just because you didn't pack that suitcase doesn't mean it's not in your baggage. So with that being said,
and you don't get TSA pre-check. Go through the screening because we need to check all of that joint in there to make sure we get you back right.
All of that. Yeah. I love it. Sarah, I want to go even a little bit deeper with you. Can we get a little bit deeper? Is that cool?
Let's go deep. Let's
go. Oh, not these two again over here. Okay, all right, break it up, you two. Enough of this here now. Oh, yeah, that's right. You're not smiling now, are you? All right. Apparently, we're getting a little bit too deep there. So
that's not the deep. He's a married man. I don't know what happened right there.
Sarah, we're going to lighten it up for 1 second. Don't you worry about it. We're going to dive back in. Sarah, this segment of the show is called Things You Didn't Know You Needed to Know About Me, but Now You're Glad You Do. It's a long title because I like it like that. Sarah, this is where we share some random things about us that people didn't know that they needed to know about us. Okay. Are you ready, Sarah? Are you ready? I'm happy to go first.
I'm not, but go. You go first. You go first.
Right, I'll go first. As you know, I talk a lot about food quirks. Here's a food quirk that I realized that I have recently as Tina and I are trying to eat healthier. We're eating more fish. Got our omega-3s and our omega-6s. So whenever I eat salmon, salmon's a flaky fish, I take my fork and I press on the salmon and then each little piece slides off and flakes off and I eat it flake by flake. I don't know why I do this, Sarah, but that is something random that I do that I've noticed about myself.
You like the taste of it, so you want to savor every bite? Is that what's happening right now?
I don't know. I think it's like a way to play with my food. Like I'm a grown ass man out here, but not really. You know what I mean?
Somebody sent Tina a card. Tell her we sorry. Yeah. So I need to tell the story because it's hard. I don't know the meaning of words, and that sounds really bad for a speaker. It was in front of an orientation crew. This is a real true story. Orientation is second day in. It's hot. You've been on Salisbury's campus at orientation time, and I'm telling them you got it. I believe in you. Go Squad forever, and they're really excited. And I said, so guys, you're gonna take my energy, and you're gonna be the testicles of my energy. You all are gonna take it and just be the testicles. And so they're looking at me, and nobody's cheering. And I'm like, oh, I'm losing it. I'm good at this. What's happening? I'm not pepping them up. And finally, my coordinator looked at me and said, so you said testicles, right? Testicles. He's like, tentacles? What's tentacles? Oh, so I didn't even catch it. You don't even understand. It wasn't even a moment that I was like, oh, I said the wrong word. I was standing strong. Yeah, my testicles. They were like, there, seriously? And I was like, oh my God. Shout out to the Go Squad. I'm just saying that I sometimes don't know meanings to words. And so I try to use them and I'm like, ooh, did that word make sense? So a little thing that I do that people who have talked to me for any length of time will know, I will say really quickly at the end of a sentence. Did that make sense to you? And the whole reason why I'm doing that is to make sure I said what I was supposed to say the right way and that it wasn't jacked up. But it is really a science. It's a method to my madness. So people think I'm trying to be all profound. Like, did that make sense? Oh my God, Sarah, that was awesome. But I'm really asking because I'm right. Did I use the right words in the right way, in the right context? Did they catch that I didn't use the right words the right way, in the right context? So there you go, folks. I'm outed. Now people are going to be like, she's really an idiot. So now I've lost all speaking gigs probably for the next 2 years. But whatever, I'm good when I practice it. Right.
That's it. Listen, Sarah, you can combat this by going out into the world and grabbing it by the tentacles. I love it. I love it. Speaking of words, another random thing about me is that there are a few words that I consistently just have decided my brain is like, we're never going to learn how to spell these words. Like, these are just like, just give up, just hope the red squiggly line appears and hopefully you can right click and like figure it out. And so like environment, I'm not getting it. And there's certain words that I have to sound out, right? Like February, and in order to be able to spell them right, but like environment, assess and access. I always want to split up words like set up and like, I'm like, do I do what? Like, is it both? Do I like when do they exist as their own words, right? Like I want everybody to have their own space. I care about everybody. And so, but like there's so many words that I just like consistently misspell. Business, right? I mean, the irony of being a business owner who can't spell business.
It's too many S's. It's too many S's.
It's too many. Yeah, what are we doing out here?
Right.
So yeah, that's one.
That's me. And so my word is, no, my computer didn't freeze. I'm just trying to figure out how to say it. Pacific. Oh crap! This is so embarrassing.
This is like Finding Nemo.
Wait, it's Pacific. Suspicious. Oh, come on. I practiced this. Wait.
Can I give you a shot?
Yeah, go.
Specific?
Yeah, that's it. Good
okay,
job.
cool.
There are words I cannot say. I cannot say it.
Yep.
Say it again.
Specific.
Say it again. Yeah. Yeah.
Fic.
There we go. Good job, James. That was really good diction there.
Thanks.
Specific. Yeah.
I put the diction in these testicles. So, oh shoot!
Glad the show's on at 9 o'clock.
I never heard that story, and you're going to regret telling me it. Buckle up. And also, people are out here willing to book the testicle speech. So don't you worry about it.
Horrible.
So I love it. Let's do one more, Sarah. Here is I have a fear.
Okay.
I have a fear of letting people down. And that fear, no, let me not share. I do have that one, but let me talk about a deeper one. An even deeper fear, even more rich fear of mine is that I'm going to be a burden to other people. And so I have a fear that I'm going to burden others. And so even with the way that I like market on social media, I like click sorry when I hit send or post. And like I have an email that I send out to the people on my email list. And like, I'm like, oh God, I'm really emailing them a lot this month. I feel really bad. And like, I just feel like I'm consistently a burden, like telling people to watch this show every week. I'm like, I'm gonna have to tell you every week what's going on and remind you that it's happening every single week. And like, I have a giant fear that I'm a huge burden to other individuals when all I want to be is someone who alleviates pain, brings joy, causes laughter, makes people think. That idea that I will be seen as a burden before seen as any of those other things keeps me frozen.
Okay. All right. So let me match you. I have a fear that I will forget my value. I will forget my value as a woman. And the reason why is I get so caught up every day into doing just that, making people happy, fixing people's lives or helping them here and there. And sometimes it's met with like appreciation, but sometimes it's met with not appreciation. And so sometimes you get beat up You get really beat up. And so if I'm not very careful, and if I don't take the time away from social media, if I don't take the time to put the phone down, if I don't take the time to really be inside of solitude and really pray and really focus, I will go down a deep spiral that I really will forget the value of who I am. I will forget the value of what I contribute. I will forget the value of how I contribute and how people, every day I believe, I say this to students all the time, every day that you wake up is because you were needed for a purpose. That I do believe that you will not wake up the day you don't wake up anymore is because your job is done. But if you're still opening your eyes every day, it's because your job is not done. And so your job, each day could be as large or as small, but you still have a job to get done. And so for me, I sometimes forget my value, and I really have to be able to do some self-reflection, some self-conversation, and I have to really build myself back up. So it's funny when people are like, oh my God, Sarah, you're so powerful. And I'm thinking, I'm glad, because that was the same speech I gave to me this morning in the mirror, right? And so that I can continue to push forward and get the energy. So you even asked earlier, kind of like, Sarah, how are you doing? Like, how are you mentally balancing? I get into the mirror and I begin to have these conversations. And then I have stickies, right? Being Mary Jane was always my favorite because I was like, yes, somebody else put Post-its up, right? But if you go into my bathroom, there's Post-its, and each one of those Post-its represents my value. It represents kind of what I think of me. And I say them every day, and I remind myself every day, because my fear is that I will forget that one day and I will go down in such a dark hole that I may not be able to come back out. Yeah.
That, first off, that's beautiful. Thank you for sharing that. And that is so powerful. What does, and I'd love to hear your thoughts on, like, what is when someone forgets their value, like what happens? Like what is the other side of that?
Yeah.
You're not going to choose to remember your values and you do forget your values. Like what happens in that space?
I think a couple of different things. I think there's sometimes where we find a lot of mental health issues happen at that point, like a little depression sets in, or sometimes anxiety. But I think the other side of it is that you begin to imitate others because you forgot who you are, right? So you begin to look at everyone else and figure out, I want that, right? So you're the person on social media that's looking at your friends like, oh, they got a new dog. Well, let me go get a new dog. Your life ain't cut out for a new dog, right? And that was me, right? During the pandemic, everybody's like, oh, I'm getting a puppy. I'm like, I'm gonna get a puppy. And so my family was like, you do realize this will end. You will go back on the road. You will not get into this space where you will be able to take care of a dog. And so I think, the other side of that is that we will become things that we know that's not true to who we are as individuals. It's not true to our gift. It's not true to our spirit. It's not true to what our calling is or what our purpose is. And so I think that we got to be careful, right? For me, I've been on the other side. It was depression, right? I thought about it's a time period where stuff was like I was losing. I lost a significant other. I definitely I had some health issues. I definitely was, under investigation at work because I was a racist. Just talk about that another day, another hour. But
okay,
that was just like, it was so many issues that was taking place that, I just thought, I have no point of being here. I have no point of living. Nobody sees the good. I can't do anything right. I really have nothing to give. And so I got into a dark depression. So I think the other side of it is, like I said, the mental health issues. I think it is, you start trying to identify with everybody else that you can't identify with. I remember talking to my family earlier, my mom, my brother, and I was like, you know what? I think I'm going to adopt a baby. And so my mom looked and she was like, okay. And so then it dawned on me, like, nah, I don't even like the baby stage. Like I don't have to, like, I need adults. They can fix their own sandwiches. Like, you can run errands for me. Like, I need adults. So I'm not designed for a baby. But again, I'm looking on Instagram, seeing all these families and seeing all these people thinking, yeah, they're only gonna like complete, thinking, nah, that's not what completeness looks like for me. Completeness for me looks like I'm able to go out, I'm able to speak, I'm able to inspire, I'm able to build relationships, I'm able to sit down and do some writing, I'm able to kind of make people laugh, I'm able to make some good drinks, I'm able to make good drinks. Like, for me, completeness is being able to be in spaces where I know I can have a great time and then share my energy and joy to uplift and encourage someone else. That's my completeness. For me, that's what makes me complete. And so I have to remember that's what my value is, what I bring to people's lives, and knowing that I have an incredible gift that has been given to me and I need to honor it and making sure that I share it appropriately. This is deep. I really feel like I'm sitting in Waffle House for real.
Let's go. Let's go. Another round of chocolate milks.
Lactose intolerance. Can I just get Sprite, please?
Okay. Another round of soapy water glasses. Yeah, but Sarah, that's so beautiful what you just said, because the interesting thing is that you are a business owner. I don't know if you see yourself as a business owner. I don't know if you would call yourself an entrepreneur. I don't know if you would introduce yourself as, I am Sara, I am an entrepreneur. I'm curious, when you think about the way that you introduce yourself and the way that you show up into spaces, when thinking about that push and pull internally of value, it is hard. I mean, I know for me that when I first became a speaker and went out on my own, I used to introduce myself as, I used to work in higher education as a full-time professional. I'm now a speaker, because being a speaker it didn't feel real. It didn't feel like it was going to impress people. It felt like, well, I used to get a steady paycheck and now I don't know what the hell's going on. Right. And it felt like I was a suit. It was a suit I was trying to grow into, and fortunately did. But, for you, as you see yourself as a strong, badass businesswoman who is a mentor to so many. Your students love you. The individuals that you get to impact in the community love you. The work that you do for Delta and others. How has it been for you? There you go. How has it been for you in balancing that?
This is a little awkward because I don't know if you know this story. I don't know if you know this. So you're welcome ahead of time. We were in Indianapolis and you and I had lunch. We were sitting in the little hotel restaurant having lunch.
High Velocity.
And High Velocity. Oh, so you do remember this. High Velocity. And so I said, James, I need a mentor. He's like, Sara, you don't really need a mentor. I said, no, I do. And you said, how do you introduce yourself, Sara? And I was like, what do you mean, Sara? And he was like how do you? And I was like, oh yeah, I work at XYZ University and I'm a speaker. And he's like, yeah, that's the problem. You got to see yourself as a speaker first. And you just happen to work in the institution. And I don't know if you ever, you told me that, but you did. And so I go back further to 2014, Brandon Stewart walked up to me one day and said, here is the deal. You are a great speaker, but you need to tell yourself that. And I was embarrassed at first, wait a minute, I don't have confidence issues. Who are you talking to? So, but then when I processed that, right, and I began to understand what you shared and what he shared, then I really understood, I had to take my own self seriously. And I think for women, sometimes that's so hard for us to take ourselves seriously because we've been conditioned that as soon as we take ourselves seriously, then now we're trying to be the bitch, right? Or now we're trying to dominate, and we're not. We're just trying to find, and now we're just trying to find our role. We're trying to find our space. And so for me, it took a while. So it's funny because Sara Speaks just was really born. I don't even think she's a year old yet. Sara Speaks is maybe 8 months old.
Got the brand on the wall, though.
The brand is on the wall. The brand is on the wall. And so I think that it took up until 8 months ago that I recognized I'm a business owner and my business is my voice. And so I began to even treat and honor my body very differently and understand I need to take care of my voice box. And I need to understand that, what comes out of my mouth, it really needs to be more of blessings than cursings, right? It needs to be speaking of uplifting and instead of tearing down because it's my business, right? It's just like a boxer. If a boxer's a boxer, he's conditioning his body constantly, right? An athlete is conditioning for their job, right? So right now the NBA is getting ready to go to Disney, right? And I'm sitting here thinking they about to live the best lives ever, but they have to condition because it's their job. And so now I even look at my body differently and understand it's my job to take care of it because it is my business. So I will be honest with you, I didn't really look at that until about 8 months ago. It took me a while to even respect myself as a professional speaker. Yes, I said it out loud. This is a great therapy session. I'll send you a check later, James. And so now that that I have understood who I am as a speaker and understood who I am, with my business. I'm unstoppable, right? And I think it's funny because I think before I can even fear, I have to get past understand. I have to get past valuing, right? You talk about, I have to value myself. So there's no before I can even talk about, Daryl Bellamy is about to kill me right now. Before I can even talk about facing my fears, I got to face my value. Because once I understand my value, then fear automatically moves out the way because I'm about to move in directions that only my value can take me. Right. And so therefore, fear can't stop me because I know who I am. I know whose I am. I know where I'm going. I know how I'm getting there. But again, let me stress, I'm 40 plus years old. And that just happened 8 months ago, because I think it was kind of going through the years of conditioning of in these kind of structured environments and trying to raise my level up as a Black woman and still not ever feeling like it's enough. Right. I get my master's degree. It's still not enough. Right. I'm right now working on my doctorate, and I'm pretty sure when that's completed, it still won't be enough, right? Mm-hmm. And so I think that it's like I'm hearing these spaces from all these other entities, and I sometimes let it consume me. And so it goes right back to what I said, forgetting my value, right? I got to understand my value. And now my value comes with Sara Speaks, right? Somebody just, you come to me and say, Sara, can you speak? Yeah, I sure can. But let's talk a little bit about what you need and what you want. And if you really want an audience just to make them laugh for a couple of minutes and not offer them any real meat and potatoes or any life-changing moments or even thought-provoking moments, then I'm not who you want, right? I'm going in because I believe somebody in that audience needs to hear something to get a breakthrough to the next moment, right? And so that's the only way I'm doing this and honoring the label of Sara Speaks. So yeah, I don't know if I answered your question. I totally forgot the question. What the heck? All right, what did you ask me?
Couldn't tell you. I was too busy thinking about High Velocity and their smoked salmon sandwich. No, Sara. It's funny. I remember parts of that conversation. I don't remember what I said. Otherwise, I probably wouldn't have been redundant again here. But that's cool that happened. But I love that. I love that. And it took you some time. Like you said, you're just barely 40 years old. And 8 months ago is when this awakening happened. Yeah. Speaking to your value is crucial. Like, I have thought about going back and getting a doctorate. But if I went back to get a doctorate right now, I think I'd be getting it for the wrong reasons. Yeah. I would be getting it because I don't think I'm enough. I'd be getting it because, like, I would love to be the next Brene Brown. And that's who I want to be. It's like, all right, well, Brene Brown's got a doctorate. I need to get a doctorate. Right. Like, I want to be a sassy woman hanging out with Oprah and telling people to get their lives together and really meaning deep, right? You know what I mean? Like, it's just, I have a goal of meeting Brene Brown, by the way. I'm going to meet her within 5 years. Don't know how. If any of you watching know how, please let me know. But still, that's going to happen. I'm really excited about it. Yeah. And so, but again, that idea of not knowing my value. So let me come up with another credential. Let me get another blank, right? Let me get another sentence in the introduction. And it's so interesting because the beauty of you, Sara, the beauty of you is that we don't need to lead with credibility because we lead with relatability. And when we lead with relatability, other people see themselves in us. And when we see ourselves in somebody else, we believe that we can, right? And so your ability to attract positive vibes, attract individuals who are ready and willing to listen is because of how you show up. But it's so interesting because we live in a world that conditions us that, we're on the train tracks of life and you got to stop at the high school graduation, the college graduation, you get your this, you got to stop at all these train stops if you're going to live a successful life. Right. And that's a pile of horse manure. Yeah. And so, but when we are lost, when we don't know our own value, the only thing we can lean on is what society tells us we should value. Yeah. but that's hard, right? Especially to bring the conversation full circle. And again, I will never speak for you. And so I'd be curious if this is a question for you, but to bring it full circle as a Black woman who is out here amplifying her own damn voice, and doing it with confidence in the last 8 months, got this sweet branding, got this great attitude, taking care of yourself. There is more that you are up against than, say, me, ye old privileged white boy who came from a household with more than enough, right? Well, we both got dropped off on a mountain, Sarah, but I got dropped off at a different place than you did. And we call that privilege. But you know, I'd be curious to hear, kind of as we're wrapping this up, you know, bring it full circle for us. You know, what does it mean, and how is, like, determining your value, how has that been impacted by what here we go. I'm not even trying to say specific. Don't say you never made an impact on me. Bring it around for me with when we put some of these goals and these dreams in the face of the systemic issues in this country. Tie that up for me.
Here we go. So let's start backwards and go forward, right? So at the end of the day, I think about, you was talking about not having a good enough reason to get your doctorate. And for me, my brother, Joel Adams, challenged me on this just last week. Sarah, do it for you. Don't do it for anybody else. And I felt like at first, the whole reason of getting my doctorate is so that as a Black woman, no one gets the opportunity of telling me I don't have the right credentials for the job when I know I have the skill set. And so I sometimes feel like there's excuses that's being made. How do we keep the Black people or the Black girl down, right? And so, she talks too loud, or she talks too much, or she's too opinionated, she's too authentic, right? But I think here is the deal. I was given one life and one life only, and I was given that life to make a difference and make a difference in someone's life. And if that someone is just me, then that's what I'm going to do. But at the end of the day, I'm not going to allow anyone to dictate or to share with me what they think I should be. And so at the end of the day, I will always put me first. Putting me first simply means that I will always be in spaces where I can educate, and that I can always make sure that I have the knowledge that's needed so I know where I need to go. Because once I know where I need to go and I understand the resources and I understand the history and I understand all the context, then I'm able to travel there very fluidly and also travel there and bring somebody else along with me. And so this thing that we're doing right now, we're in this space where people are still quarantined in their homes. So they're still trying to figure out what that looks like, what tomorrow looks like. They're still feeling kind of nervous, right? We still have people that's out protesting because they do believe that Black lives matter and that there needs to be a thing called equality, right? For all people. There is this thing right now that's going on that people are pretty afraid of who or what or when. And at the end of the day, this is what I'm getting ready to tell people. The only fear that you have is the fear of owning and knowing that there is greatness within inside of you that you need to spill out in some way, shape, or form. And don't always assume greatness means that you have to be on TV, or greatness means you need to make millions. Greatness simply means that you can carry your household, make sure everybody has what they need, folks are where they need to be, clothed, fed, whatever the case may be. That can be your volume of greatness. Stop trying to use the definition that society has put on you and use the definitions that you know what to be true. And I think that's the thing that I've learned. That's the thing that even when everything is going on, I'm not really listening to the media about the protests and about whatever's going on. I'm looking around and I'm reading and I'm saying, okay, this is what needs to get done. I'm not really listening to the media about the pandemic. I'm also, let me check. I fought Anthony Fauci. That's my dude, right? That's my dude, 50 Cent. I love that man. Low key, if he's single, hook me up. But anyway, so the thing is that I'm listening to the people that's coming with research that's not trying to tell me what to do, that's giving me the best methods of how to do it, right? And I think as we just walk through this life, I think we got to trust ourselves a little bit more. I think we got to exert our true authentic self a little more. We can no longer worry about who is standing beside us as ready to talk about us. We have to be ready to change the narrative and talk about ourselves so that they understand who we are and what we're presenting out there, not what the society is putting back on us. Does that make sense? I don't know if that's what you want, but that's what I was feeling. Like, that's the best way I can tell you to make this full circle of understanding who my value is, who Sara is, and how Sara's walking and why Sara's making the decisions, right? Sara started off in this life with 2 parents, and both of them died when I was fairly young. So I had to figure this world out really quickly for myself. And so I made a lot of mistakes. Credit numbers are low. So if somebody want to do my budget, please help me. But anyway, and understanding, it took a lot, right? I'm on this social media platform and say, yeah, my credit is shot right now. But the key is I'm working on it, right? And so I think we got to stop being in a place of being ashamed and just being able to reach out across the line and say, okay, let's have a conversation. Let me see how I can help you. Let's see how I can support you. I think about Jess Estrom, who's reached her hand out like, Sara, let me help you. I'm like, all right, bet. I think about you, and I think about what Tina, what you all have done in the bailout fund. I think about all the many people that are just doing what they can do in their areas, and they're not trying to be grandstanding. They're just trying to make ends meet, and they're just trying to help people beyond what society say they are, right? And I think that's a beautiful thing. I think that's where we need to operate from. Stop trying to operate by society's definitions and create your own. I challenge everybody, build your own dictionary, build your own table of contents of who you are and where you want to go and how you're going to get there. And don't use society's definitions. Make your own definitions up, right? Talk about the perfect love affair. People always think like, oh, who is that? Who is that? It's me. I'm the perfect love affair. I love myself better than anybody else can love me, right? And I'm going to love me no matter what you think of me, right? So I don't have to have this perfect person on my side that's saying the right words, that's kissing me on my neck, because I can kiss me, right? I can take care of me. The perfect date is when I go get some wings, a nice little Angry Orchard, and chilling. Like, I don't need somebody to be able to fill that space for me. And so I think we just got to be able to learn how to define our own words, our own love, our own value, our own dreams, and create that roadmap so that others can follow behind us and learn for themselves how to make themselves happy and not depend on society to do it for them. That's what I got, dude.
Damn. Sara, in the business, we call that a soundbite. Man, that was a word right there, Sara. That was incredible. I thank you. I'm not even going to add anything on. Normally, I'd be like, let me get something in here. Nope, I got nothing to say. That was beautiful.
James, you're the best.
Absolutely, I second Darrell Bellamy. Definitely.
I love you, D. Love
you. Sara, we'd love to have you stick around and answer some questions. If some people have some questions for you, would you be willing? So that's awesome.
Yes.
All right, I love it. My friends, if you are listening to this on the podcast, thank you so much for listening. Make sure that you like and subscribe to it. Leave a review. That would help out so much. But also, if you're interested in watching the Q&A with Sara, please check out my YouTube channel. Just go type in my name, James Ribalata, on YouTube. It will pop up. Thank you so much for all of you who are listening. Be well.
Yeah.
Sara. Man, so good. Like, literally just dropped those, we call bars, Sara.
Not bars.
That was bars.
Not bars.
Danny out here. I agree with you, Danny. You make the world a better place. Here we go. Billy Bolden would sign up for Sara's daily affirmations.
I love that, Billy. Mwah.
Austin is reminding you of your next blog post and/or short video. I love it. Friends, if you have questions for Sara about anything that we talked today, or questions for me about what it was like to listen to Sara, that works as well. But I would love, please put some questions in there for sure. I mean, you know, she grew up in Maryland, and so if you got questions about, best crab cakes in Maryland, she's probably also got you back there as well. But
and it's not Phillips.
No, absolutely not.
It's always a hole in the walls. It's like,
always.
It's like, oh yeah. It's like the place that you're like, ooh, can I sit here? But these crab cakes are the bomb, though.
Yeah. No, those places, I mean, that's the key. Like, whenever, especially when I go down south, the places that I'm looking to eat are the places that are definitely falling over. The only thing that's holding it up is grease and love, right? Like, that's like the grease is so caked on the wall that they are not able to move.
Yeah. I think when I go to North Carolina, when I go visit my family, my favorite, it's not a hole in the wall, but it's my favorite seafood place. It's like Blue Bay. And so it's funny because no matter how old I get, the food still tastes the same. It hasn't shifted. And so I'm like, yes, I love this restaurant. For years, it just had the same quality of food. And so it's like, yeah, I love that place. So yeah, I agree with you. I do agree with you.
For sure.
This has been fun.
I love it. Do you agree with Billy here? Soft shell crabs?
Yeah, I do, but I'm not a fan of the soft shell fried. I like to pick them, dig out my dead fingers, and eat my. Yeah, I'm a picker. I'm a picker. So the soft shells, I'm like, they're good, but that's not my first thing. My first thing is just to pick my crabs.
All right, that's fair. I'll get down to some she crab soup, though. I'll tell you that.
Some what?
Some she crab soup. You ever had
What's that? No.
It slaps. Next time we're in the area, I'm gonna find something. We gonna get it out.
What's in it? Is it tomato based?
No, it's like a cream base, like a bisque. It's like, it's really good. There's crab in there. Some deliciousness.
I love that. I love
strong
that.
product. If y'all have questions for Sarah, make sure that you're putting them in here. I definitely appreciate that. We got some shout out to High Velocity here. Appreciate that.
I love High Velocity.
That's it, Billy. Sherry was what I was trying. Sherry, they put a little sherry on top of the she crab soup.
Oh, nice.
That's it. Thank you, Billy. I appreciate you. Billy's out here chefing. You know what I'm saying? When he's not pulling trucks with his teeth, he is.
Whoa! Why are we doing this?
I'm just saying, he's a very strong man. He literally moves trucks for fun.
Okay.
So
the dog is cute, Billy. I like your dog.
Yep, very cute.
Good
Very
job.
Cute. Yep, for sure. Kristen, thank you for the goat you ordered, High Velocity. Yep.
What's your go-to order? I don't know, Chris. The burger, because I'm such a plain Jane, but they have a good burger. It's like it's a thick, juicy burger.
Mm-hmm. Yep, their salmon
On
sandwich
the
is probably or the hotel things are super expensive, so I usually get the quesadilla because the most bang for buck I think there. So I'm out here being cheap.
Okay.
I'm also secretly a 5-year-old boy, so give me a quesadilla.
Wait a minute. I need to see. You want a grilled cheese too? Grilled cheese tomato soup?
Well, Sarah, you hate this to be what happened, but just so you know, Billy's beautiful dog passed away.
Billy, please, I'm so sorry. So sorry.
Beautiful dog for sure. For sure. He did a lovely tribute to her on the Facebook. On the Facebook. So yeah,
the Book of Faces.
That's it. Sarah, thank you so much. I appreciate you for coming
James.
And rocking with us.
Thank you for allowing me to come and rock. You didn't ask me to sing. Kudos to you for that. Great host. I'm like, come on, let's put you on prime time because they need to hear you. They need to see you. They need to know your value. They need to step their game up.
Thank you, Sarah. I appreciate you.
You're the best.
Thanks for coming on. Clap it out for Sara Lowery, everybody. Let's go. My friends, thank you so much for tuning in to this episode of Diner Talks with James. We're live every Wednesday night at 9 o'clock Eastern, 8 o'clock Central, 7 o'clock Mountain, 6 o'clock Pacific, because that's the way time zones work. For sure, would love to have you join. Make sure you smash that follow button if you're watching this on Facebook so you know when we're going live again next week. And until then, continue to have incredible conversations that you never want to end with people that you absolutely love over food you shouldn't be eating that late at night. Love y'all. Thanks for coming through. Y'all take care.